Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Joe and welcome to another episode in mine and Spikey's Overrated Cosmetics series. This is where we evaluate 5 cosmetics for each class in the game and just potentially why they are overrated. This doesn't mean that we don't like the cosmetic, it just means we feel that it gets used a bit more and is a bit more popular than it deserves to be. So don't get offended or misconstrue anything we're saying. This is just purely opinion based on cosmetics that we believe are simply overrated. So without further ado, let's get into the first cosmetic that I believe is overrated for the engineer. So coming up first on the list we have the level 3 chin. Now I personally love this cosmetic and I actually use it in my own loadout. It's just the fact everyone else uses it in their loadout and it's so overused. If you don't know what it is, it just gives the engineer this sort of double chin and adds essentially what could only be described as this fat lump underneath his jawline and around his cheeks, making him appear extremely obese. Now don't get me wrong, as I said, I think it's a really comical cosmetic and looks awesome when combined with the Egghead's overalls. However, when it's not combined with the Egghead's overalls, it doesn't really fit in, and you've just got a generic build engineer with a double chin. Nevertheless, it is a really cool cosmetic, it's just used too frequently for my liking. Let's head over to Spikey.
My first pick for the overrated engineer cosmetics would have to be the Danger. Now you may be thinking that I do actually own a Miami Nights Danger, but I'm allowed to own a hat and still think it's overrated. It's really nothing against the hat, it's just I feel like there are much better options for a lot of the cosmetics in the game right now. And that this hat was only really made popular because of Uncle Dane wearing it. And that's not really a problem either, it's just I don't think that as many people would wear it if Uncle Dane wasn't wearing it. But I mean, I'm wearing exactly the same unusual as him, so what do I know?
I mean, personally I do agree, but from someone who has watched Breaking Bad, I think it's quite cool, the whole Heisenberg theme surrounding it. I mean, that's why I think it's probably popular, but nonetheless I do definitely agree that it is an overrated hat. So next up on the list of cosmetics that I just feel is a bit overrated for the engineer is probably going to have to be the Brainiacs Hairpiece. So if you don't know what the Brainiacs Herpes is, it's essentially some goggles combined with this white sort of spiky hair to give your engineer this sort of mad scientist look. Now I think it's really cool and it's really nice on its own, however this is a misc, and a lot of people buy this because it's an unusual misc, but the issue is the white hairs just clip out through most hats and creates this horrible sort of clipping on the engineer when equipped with other hats, so that kind of ruins it for me. On its own I think it's great, but combined with other hats I really just don't think it's up to scratch. And of course there is the alternative of the mining light, which has less clipping issues. Overall it is a nice cosmetic, only when it's on its own.
My next pick would have to be the Texas 10 gallon. Now if you don't know what the Texas 10 gallon is, it's basically just a Texan cowboy hat for the engineer, and it's very simple and a lot of people really like it. Now that could just be because, you know, it's themed with the engineer because the engineer is from Texas, the cowboy hat is also kind of Texan and stuff like that, but honestly it's such a plain hat that I don't really understand why so many people use it. Obviously, I do think the hat is quite nice, and I am allowed to think the hat is nice and overrated at the same time. You're allowed your own opinions as well. I just think it's very plain, and I don't ever expect that many people to actually use a hat like this.
So finally for the engineer, I believe the last overrated cosmetic in my opinion is going to have to be the Pipboy. Now, if you've played any of the Fallout series, you'll probably think this is a great cosmetic. It essentially is a wrist-mounted device that covers the engineer's entire forearm, essentially. It's sort of glowing green, and it has this sort of heads-up display from Fallout. It has several sort of buttons on knobs around the device, which really replicates the Pipboy 3000 from the Fallout series. Now my main issue with the Pipboy is you're using a 1 cosmetic slot out of the 3 you're given to have something on the engineer's forearm. This could be used for something like some pants like the Texas half pants or the dogfighter, or like you could make a full loadout on your engineer but you're using 1 cosmetic slot on the wrist sort of area of the engineer, which generally isn't too noticeable. However, I do love the HUD that comes with the Pipboy when you use it with things like the construction PDA and the Eureka effect. Overall, it is quite a cool item and I do like how unique it is in terms of other items for the engineer. I just feel like it's a bit of a waste of a cosmetic slot. But that is just about it for my list, guys. Leave your opinions down in the comment section below, along with any agreements or disagreements that you have. Be sure to go and check out Mikey's channel in the description below, and peace.